That's right, because I muted it for us to be black.
Oh,
so now we're
good.
gonna do it over.
Okay.
It's okay because that's the magic of editing. When it goes up on YouTube, we're not gonna have this flunders.
We're good.
Second. So, all right. So, again, hi everyone. I'm Umar Khan. Welcome back to Alienware TV. Today we're on Tech Talk, Tech Shop, whatever it is, whatever I decide for it to be. We're here today with Josh Probst, our lead industrial designer for Alienware, and it's his mind that brought this to life, that brought this into reality.
It was a team effort. But
it was a team effort, but you know, there can be an I in team if you spell it in certain languages.
If you
I'm
spell
sure
it wrong, there can
if you
be an
spell
I
it
in team.
wrong, yeah. And being wrong is just breaking the rules and reinventing them, right? Great marketing words that we're just throwing out there, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be going over the Area-51, the industrial design that went into this, how you brought it to life, how your team brought it to life. And yeah, we'll be taking questions in regards to the Area-51's design and also questions that you might have for Josh, anything really. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. So we have the Area-51 and a little bit on the history of the Area-51. For a while there, we didn't have one.
Yeah.
We didn't have one, and it got reinvented into this chassis. Before it had like the Predator kind of like fin kind of thing, like not the Predator, the Alien.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of
it
fin
had those
design.
like louvers on the top. And it was a really big machine. I think the goal when we started this one was to sort of be able to combine aspects of Aurora as far as size and volume.
Yeah.
With the power of Area-51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that's very different about this case compared to the previous Area-51s, the previous Aurora chassis, is that this doesn't look like your typical desktop.
It's a triangle, man.
It's a triangle. So, is that one of the things that went into the consideration when you guys were like, oh, we need to reinvent the Area-51? Like, what, should we try this? Is that one of the things that was like, I wonder what might be unique?
Yeah, I think every time we start a project like this, and especially if it's going to be our flagship desktop, you know, anything's possible.
Yeah.
And as far as the triangular aspect, I think that was just sort of one of those like flash of genius moments that happened. We were kind of all in a room sketching as a team, and it came up, and we were like, "That's really cool." You know, I think at the beginning it was like, "Well, we're never going to do that, but let's try. Let's mess around with it." And we ended up finding out a lot of really interesting benefits with the form, with the shape.
Yeah. So you said that you got into a room with a bunch of people and started sketching. Is that normal? Like when you guys are like, okay, we need to come up with something new. Let's all just throw stuff out there.
Yeah, it's
like,
not
what does
usually
that look like?
an individual effort. We usually will get 3 to 5, 6 guys, and we're in a room sketching and ideating and brainstorming. You know, coming up with a lot of ideas pretty quickly.
Yeah. So hey, what's up, fan? What's up, Thriller Gaming and Eisenhower's? Welcome to today's segment. So with this design, right? What is the history behind this design? Like, what went into the idea? Like, I know you guys came up with, like, we got a triangle. Let's see what we can get going. Like, how did that start going? Okay,
so the design language that we've been working with, we call it the EPIC design language.
Yeah.
And a key tenet of it is this sort of triad, these 3 cut lines, and they're at like a symmetrical 120-degree angle.
Yeah. And for those of you, I'm sorry, for those of you that don't know about our EPIC like ID and stuff like that, that was first introduced on our notebooks.
Yeah.
Like when we first came out with the 14th, then when we rebranded from Alienware X notebooks to MX notebooks to 1315 to simplify that.
2012, I think.
I think it was 2013.
2013.
2013.
Yeah. It all blends together.
Yeah,
We've been working on it for a long time. So.
Yeah, so that's basically what he means by that. So.
Yeah. So we were kind of, you take the tenet of symmetry and this sort of 120-degree triad, and we were sort of sketching these ideas, and we had a sketch that was very interesting. It had this sort of, basically what you see here in the front was sort of the top of the chassis, and then we all kind of were gravitating towards something in that sketch. It wasn't a triangle yet, right?
Yeah.
And then that sort of flash of genius thing happened, and it was like, what if it was a triangle? And then we started thinking about it in that way, and the symmetry of this triangular shape really works well with with the triad and a lot of the tenets of the Epic design language. So yeah, that's kind of it really happened sort of spontaneously, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as we start thinking about it as a triangle, it's like, hey, what can this shape bring to the table, you know? And one of the things is you can't really put this system up against the wall and block any airflow.
Yeah,
you know,
which I know is a common problem for
right.
a lot of different design desktops. That if you have your feet under the desk, then one of the great things about Alienware is a lot of people don't put their stuff under the desk because
right.
of the unique design and stuff like that.
Sure.
You don't want that hot air being right there where your keyboard and mouse is.
Yeah.
So the design kind of helps with the airflow with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the airflow story on this chassis is awesome. So
yeah.
You know, you can put it all the way up against the wall, and you have this sort of forced gap. The shape forces an air gap that
yeah.
really allows the exhaust air to flow freely.
Mm-hmm.
And also your cables, right? You're never really throwing your cables up against the wall with this chassis.
Yeah.
So that was one of the, you know, in the beginning that was a key benefit that the triangular shape was going to sort of bring to the table.
Yeah.
On the front side, it also created this sort of like car console angle, you know, all the
yeah.
front ports are presenting themselves to you. We thought that was really great. And then what's really interesting, let me take the door off here. We can
yeah.
kind of... Oh, wrong door.
Unlocked.
Yeah, it's good. So another really interesting part about the triangular shape is that we could align all of the GPUs in the longest part of the triangle, and we could really get a lot of airflow going through the system that way. Kind of.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was a little loud failing, but chill out, bro. So then with the design that went into this, how did it turn out that this aided on the inside of it? Like, how did this triangle design? Because as you see here, the cards are all the way up here. Like, why? Why was that part of the design decision?
Well, so the electrical engineering team, they were kind of really brilliant in the beginning, where they wanted to add another slot so that when you have 3 full-size graphics cards, they could have even spacing, so you could really get all that air going through. So some of that probably contributes to how high the cards end up. Mm-hmm. Also, just tilting them up, they're going to raise up a bit higher.
Yeah. Do you know what are some of the benefits outside of airflow, spacing between the cards? What were the benefits that came with this system design? So,
you know, when I was in the beginning, I was talking about that this was sort of meant to combine aspects of Aurora and Area-51. The interesting thing about this chassis is that from a volume perspective, it's very similar to our old Aurora chassis, actually.
Yeah.
So it had more performance than Area-51, and it's about the same height as Area-51, similar depth, but the volumetric of the form is very similar to Aurora.
Yeah.
So it's kind of packed in there a bit tighter than probably the previous Area-51 was. And most of the space ends up being used. Obviously, in any desktop, there ends up being some unused space. Our new Aurora doesn't really have that because it's got that pivoted swing-out PSU. But I don't know. That was one of the key things was sort of combining those two products, and having the volumetric be similar to Aurora was pretty interesting.
Yeah. So with this desktop, so for a while we didn't have it. There wasn't an Area-51. And then you guys did this whole revamp, this new design for it. When you did that, and you were designing this with the triangle shape, what struggles went into designing this? Like, once you had it as this triangle shape, what struggles went into actually getting people to be like, that's a cool idea, man, but is it plausible? Like, how?
So, most of us, I would say we did not think it was plausible, but we've got a really talented mechanical engineering team. And we had some passion on our side, right? I think what really made this product happen was Frank Azor was like, yes.
I remember when he first saw it, he was like, guys, you got to see this. You got to see it to believe it. We're like, Frank, what are you talking about? And then he shows us a triangle. We don't know what you're talking about.
So a key pillar to Alienware is iconic industrial design,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why I have my job. And, you know, to have a leader like Frank be all in on an idea really helped us along in the process. But also, again, the team is incredibly talented. It was not easy to get what is typically a sort of box frame chassis into this triangular shape. And if you strip off all the plastic, the metal chassis underneath this thing is very intricate and very complicated.
Yeah. So what are some of the key limitations that go into place when you're designing a new desktop notebook? Like, because I know the imagination can go and run wild.
Yeah, of course. Well, obviously, a big one for Alienware, because we're all about performance, is thermals, right?
Yeah.
So how can you design something that's going to push the kind of air that's going to be required to run at the type of power levels that our systems do, right? And, you know, with this chassis and with the Epic design language in general, as it relates to thermals, side venting, you know, will always sort of help things along. But how do you figure out ways to achieve the same thermal performance without side venting to sort of keep that iconic nature?
And that's something that's on this case because it has 2 doors,
right?
And they're solid doors.
Yep.
There's no ventilation or chrome outfitting on the outside like our older desktops are over there. Actually, the Predator, Predator desktops from long ago,
right?
So this, you guys actually had to solve for that. You can't just like be up here because is that like one of the first questions that comes up? It's like outside of that's neat. How?
Right.
But like, is that one of the things? Like, is there like a checkbox that goes off or like?
Yeah. Well, there's we've got a thermal team and they were very apprehensive about this in the beginning without side venting, right? But we kept going, we pressed forward, and we get to the phase where we're actually testing, and it was actually a very efficiently cooled system. I think a lot of that has to do with the spacing of the graphics cards and that long path of air, right? We've got so much open area to pull air in on the front, right? And it's a pressurized chassis, so and then obviously the benefits of being away from the wall. Yeah, it all just sort of worked out. Really proud of this product. Actually, it was great the way it all.
It's our most unique product that we have,
right?
Compared to everything else. A notebook's a notebook. Obviously, we make changes and stuff like that, but all 3 notebooks look the same, just in varying sizes. This isn't like the Aurora. Isn't just a mini. It's a completely different design.
It's a different animal.
This is still a completely. When you're thinking about the imagination and what's out there for a desktop of this size, this stands out. I don't think I've even seen anybody attempt to. I've seen people attempt to replicate it, like some Chinese vendors.
We did see, there's like a small one. It's an exact copy. But if we like kind of yank that one apart, and it's not a triangular chassis. It's a box. That has a triangular outside shell.
Like those cakes that people made. Like, that's a really nice, neat cake, but it's all that whatever confet or whatever it is that they put.
Yeah, but this one's legit, right?
Yeah.
So you were talking about challenges. Thermals are always a major challenge in the beginning. Cost is always going to be an issue. Alienware is a niche brand. We don't have the huge volumes that some of our competitors might have, or even within our own company. So we're always focused on a little bit of cost also. There's other limitations like EMI, making sure some of the DIY boxes and everything, you go to Fry's and get the DIY boxes. Those don't have some of the EMI protection and all of the UL rated stuff that goes into all of our products, right?
Yeah.
Skin temperatures and all that.
Yeah.
So some of the skin temp stuff is more of a notebook statement, but anyway, those are some of the challenges when we got the white sheet of paper in front of us, right?
Yeah.
We want to go crazy, but there's always that you've got the other people talking in your head that have all the but you can't do that,
Yeah, well, it might be too much of a lift to go and convince someone of that maybe
Right.
you're not even convinced of.
Right.
You got to think about, this is a really cool idea. Let me try to convince someone. If I was them, I wouldn't be convinced either. Yeah. So definitely, those are a lot of things that go into it. So I got a couple of questions.
Okay.
So I put I put up a couple posts online asking people to bring in their questions, and I know you've been at Alien for how long have you been here?
I've started in the Miami office late 2007.
Late 2007.
Yeah, so I'm coming up on a decade.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been here for a while. So you've seen the evolution of a lot of our desktops,
Yeah.
a lot of our notebooks, just a lot of our products.
Mm-hmm.
So you obviously remember the ALX line.
It was a little bit before my time, but I've seen them, right?
Yeah.
I think when I came in, we were sort of wrapping up the design of that last Area-51 and the last Aurora. So, yeah, I've seen the ALX line. We weren't shipping it when I came in.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what are your thoughts on it? Like the ALX line itself. A lot of people feel like it's more premium.
Yeah.
Compared to, I don't know. It's like that special snowflake feel that people get. Even though the ALX line, now I worked in like every department imaginable. The ALX line was pretty much just additional service. You had chrome sides for some of your venting, and I guess there's like we overclocked some stuff. Yeah. Like I think we did like GPU overclocking. From my understanding, it was a lot about service and about sort of like the delivery experience and yeah, if there was a problem, like there was a guy out there right away. Yeah, there was an ALX support. It was a lot about service. Yeah. The way I interpret ALX, and maybe it's not called ALX, but personally, I like limited edition things. Right? Yeah. I've, my last few cars I've owned they're always this sort of limited run. Like I love Volkswagens, right? I love limited edition Volkswagens. Yeah. So the way I see ALX is as sort of like a special edition. I don't know. I'd love to see us do some more of these limited runs. When was the last one that we did? I can't even remember. Something that we sold that wasn't tied off to like an event. Like I know, like some events, like I know we gave away at QuakeCon, like Quake themed alphas. Sure. Yeah. The whole like I think we have one over here that's sort of like Pictoflex graphics of like the Star Wars edition and stuff. Yeah, like that. The Star Wars and Superman ones that we had. I even think for a while we had a Hellgate London. Do you remember Hellgate London? No. You don't remember that? Yeah, I think we had like a skinned system of Hellgate. Okay. I think like we only sold like 3 or something. But like Personally, I cringe a little at the skins. I prefer that sort of like you mentioned the chrome sides, and the ALX meant sort of these like these different materials and finishes as well as higher performance. I remember they had that huge stack with all those like top fans and such. So to me, like a special edition is from the factory. It's something different, not just a sort of a skin on a side cover. But I know there's always going to be people that are going to love that sort of skin approach also. Yeah. Yeah. So I know that there's something that people really like and they want us to do, which is this case itself. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot that goes into the design. If you guys look on the inside, like you can see it. As a matter of fact, I think there's even a light that goes over the liquid cooling area that kind of like displays your motherboard a lot easier. People are asking for a windowed version of this chassis. Yeah. Clear side cover. Yeah. So I love the idea. We've obviously toyed with that, and you saw our. I think we had it at CES. Basically ways at shows to at trade shows and at retail to show the inside of the chassis. Mm-hmm. Right. So we've been involved in parts of those explorations. There's challenges that come with a side cover. I mentioned EMI earlier. We've got very strict regulations on the way EMI can escape a chassis. And I don't want to get into the details, but it typically means like a certain hole pattern that won't allow EMI to escape. Yeah. But now we do have other ways to achieve EMI protection with the side covers. So yeah, we're always kind of exploring those options, and I'm really excited to like keep exploring that stuff. I hope we someday see a clear side cover that we can actually ship offer. Out. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people got excited during. I actually think that we did the contest here in this building where we had a bunch of. That was the last time I was on your Twitch channel. I appreciate the welcome back, by the way. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I always tell everyone, whenever you want to come on, just send me an email.
Okay.
We'll work on something and get
cool.
you over here. But yeah, that was when we had all these modders come on with their modded Area 51s.
And a few of them had a really good take on a clear side cover.
Yeah. I believe the one that won actually had it. And I think we displayed them, not this year, but the previous year at PAX East.
Yeah.
I think I interviewed the guy too.
Yeah, they were cool.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the clear covers for the retail, I tried both approaches that those guys had tried. There was one that just cut the whole thing out, got rid of the side lighting, and there was one with the 3 windows.
Yeah.
And so we actually have made both of those for that retail environment.
Yeah.
It's just the hurdles that come with trying to do the clear side cover for production. It changes things a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a lot that people don't seem to understand. Like, we have to get this stuff in a box and ship it to you.
And it's got to be safe.
Yeah. Because the last thing you want is it shattering, broken on the inside when you get your box. So that's pretty much the questions that I got online.
Okay.
But chat, if you want to, go ahead and throw me some of your questions. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay, sure.
That I have.
Ask me anything.
I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite pizza? That's not what I wanted to ask you, but I will.
Oh, okay.
So let that brew in your mind.
Yeah,
so how did you get into the industry? So how did you get into the design industry for computers specifically?
Alienware was my first sort of, my entry into the fray, right?
Yeah.
Before getting my job at Alienware in 2007, I was designing fitness equipment for, it was basically like an ODM in Taiwan that had a design consultancy. So I went to school in Fort Lauderdale and got my first job, and I did that for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Fitness equipment was kind of fun. But it's like, as an industrial designer, you want to kind of like make cool stuff that you can like show off to your friends and family. And I was like doing weird.
The Bowflex.
Yeah, a Bowflex would be an improvement, but it was a really cool experience, and it was fun designing that stuff. But it wasn't something you could be like, "Hey, Dad, check out this cool thing," you know?
Yeah.
Or like pick up girls with.
Yeah.
I designed fitness equipment.
Yeah. So when you got into Alienware and you started working there in the Miami office, clearly you remember the atmosphere before.
Sure.
Totally different. We were more of a small business at the time, and
a family. I would say
it was a family.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I felt when I went from Miami coming here.
Yeah.
More friendship here.
But
in Miami, like, that's just like, those are your
tight
brothers.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Yeah. But what are your opinions? And I know this is something that some people ask a lot. I feel, and this is my own opinion, I've been at Alienware since 2006.
Okay.
I think that when Dell acquired it, I think things got way better. And I've been able to see the statistics of everything, like repairs, services, all that stuff. Way easier, way better. We can get into all sorts of countries without having tons of issues getting that done.
The expansion, I think, is the big one.
Yeah.
We were able to reach a lot more people with our brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the reach of Dell allows us to do things like this. I think before getting this created would have been a monumental hurdle.
Yeah. All of our chassis pre-Dell were sort of like really beautiful and really great skins on top of a box, right?
Yeah.
But to totally change the box, that would have been a monumental task.
Yeah.
In the old days. I think.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite pizza?
Favorite pizza?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot of good pizza in Austin. I just had like a Detroit style.
Oh, the lights turned off because no one's sitting over there. Hold on. No, it got darker. It's too spooky. Turn back. Okay.
Oh, nice job, Mark.
Yep. I had to wave my hands.
So anyway, I like meat on my pizza, man. Some pepperoni, some sausage.
Yeah.
You know.
You like to have like potential to have a heart attack kind of pizza.
Sure. Yeah. Like at any moment.
Yeah.
It could be over.
Yeah. Every bite, you're like, this could be the one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know you've been designing cases and playing a huge part in the language of our design for our systems. But obviously this got you into gaming, right? So what games have you played blast? What games have you had a lot of fun playing?
Man, I've been enjoying VR. So I was lucky enough to get one of these at home and borrowing one of our Vive setups.
Yeah.
I love VR. I think the last game I was playing was John Wick, because I went to the March retail event.
Yeah, and they had the John Wick.
They had John Wick, and I was like, oh, I got to try John Wick. I'm pretty sure I injured my leg playing John Wick too long.
Yeah.
I was using muscles that I wasn't used to.
Yeah.
But super cool. I've always loved the sort of simple casual games.
Yeah.
My gaming background is the racing games, and I'm stuck on Gran Turismo. Unfortunately, Gran Turismo is only PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
So, I love Gran Turismo, and I've got the whole seat and the
whole setup.
I've got the setup, man.
Wow.
And it's pretty fun. I would love to get to the point where I've got the hydraulic chair. That would be ridiculous. But
yeah.
I'm not at that point in my life, I guess.
At one point it'll happen.
Yeah, someday. But anyway, I would say my core gaming experience is that sort of racing. But I've also I've always been stuck with I love Hot Shots Golf, so I like these sort of casual games also.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, on the VR stuff, I love those funny. The lab in VR.
Yeah.
All those little the bow and arrow game is super fun.
Yeah.
But the other night I was playing this. There's a slingshot game in the lab.
Okay.
And these you're trying to destroy these boxes with these droid ball things.
So you're actually trying to hold it like that.
No, you got a slingshot and you release it. But they're saying the most hilarious things, and I was I could not stop laughing. I woke my girlfriend up, and she came in and yelled at me, and I was just crying, and I was laughing at these freaking droid balls.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you guys get a chance, if you have VR, get in the lab and do the slingshot. It's freaking hilarious.
Definitely. For a lot of people, VR is hard to get into because the entry point price wise is kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But at all these conventions and all these expos that go on, there's VR setups everywhere. It's huge industry.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are getting into it.
I'd like to see it. I think we're going to see it trend a little bit more affordable, right? And I want to see it kind of. I want everyone to be able to experience VR.
Yeah. Definitely. Because right now it's not the 1%ers, but it's definitely difficult to get into, and it's hard to talk about too because you have to experience it. That's one of the things about VR. You have to get in there and experience it.
Right.
Let's see. So I got a question. What do we think about the Ryzen CPU line? I'll take that question. So the Ryzen CPU line, I'm glad AMD is trying to get back into the ball game of fighting against the major mainstream. Well, I guess AMD is mainstream, but trying to dethrone some of the competition, or at least make them struggle a little bit. I'm glad that they're doing that. I'm glad that they're taking things a bit seriously. For gaming, Ryzen, I don't go off of first reviews, and I've seen a lot of their reviews, and they're a bit mixed about it. But I know that when technology launches, and this is why they call people to buy things right off the bat, new technology, they call them early adopters, because they're willing to go through hell. I think that with maybe a month or so, I think that the Ryzen CPU line will definitely be something to write home about. That's what I think. Trick question: What can the Area-51 play? It can play everything. That's right, everything in the game. So let's see what else. What other questions may have come up over here? Can it play Black Desert Online? Difo, I think I have a video online on our YouTube channel that shows me playing Black Desert Online on the Area-51. Let's take a quick look. Why does it keep scrolling down?
I think someone might have...
Yeah, when they said something, it went down.
Umar, what's your favorite pizza?
What's my favorite pizza? Oh, man. So, I have a thing against pizza and Italian food in general.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all sauce to me.
All right.
What's
your food then? What keeps you sustained?
Well, you can see I got quite a tummy. So, it's got quite a range of things that keep this tummy filled.
All right.
Dude, I don't know. I like wings, man.
Wings?
I like chicken wings. And unfortunately, here in Texas, well, I haven't been through all Texas,
Yeah,
but do you remember Sports Grill in Miami?
No.
You don't remember? That was right next to the Alienware office? Those are the best wings.
Okay.
When we went for the gaming summit, I went there with a couple of guys.
Yeah.
And we got wings.
How long you've been here? About 6 months? Something like
I've
that?
been here since August, so it's basically if I came here pregnant, I would be able to pop out a baby.
All right.
I'm expecting. Like, it's about to.
So are you into the tacos yet? Breakfast
Dude,
tacos?
so we had this discussion yesterday. Dude, there's tacos everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're great. I haven't gone to Del Taco. I think it's closed around here, right? Because I was saying yesterday in chat, I've noticed people put Del Taco sauce packets in my front yard. The kids put it there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one,
Yeah.
but I know that I'm not a big fan of Del Taco because they offer hamburgers. You don't do that.
No, that's a little weird.
It's a little weird.
Although if they had like a taco sauce and a hamburger, it sounds like it could be pretty good.
Yeah, but then I feel like the bun should also be tortilla, kind of. Like have a crunch to it.
Okay.
Kind of like the Crunch Wrap from Taco Bell. It has like the soft tortilla and then it has the hard tortilla.
I've never had it, so my thing is once I find what I like, I get it every single time.
Okay.
So like I like the burrito supreme and the chicken quesadillas. It's what I get every time. I've never strayed. Never had the pizza.
But it's such an experimental brand. You're supposed to experiment.
Once I'm in that
have you had their breakfast?
I know what I'm getting. No.
You haven't had their breakfast?
No.
That was like the most brilliant thing they've ever done.
All right, I'll have to try it.
You have to try their breakfast.
But we have Whataburger.
I haven't been to Whataburger for breakfast.
Oh.
I haven't been there for breakfast.
A little sausage, egg, and cheese taquito.
I haven't had that.
So we're only talking about food because there's no other questions.
Yeah. But that's fine. It's an AMA. We're just going to talk about this.
Cool.
But breakfast tacos are amazing here.
Yeah.
The best ones that I've had so far are in a gas station. There's this gas station, where like the IKEA is?
Yeah.
There's a gas station a little bit down east from there.
Okay.
And I forget what the hell it's called, but
it's a little far for me, but
yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere. I live like in Round Rock, but like where it stops being Round Rock, and it turns into like 3 different cities.
Yeah, like Georgetown.
It's around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area though.
It is.
I love Leander.
I haven't been to Leander.
Leander.
I haven't been to Leander.
They're a little rolling hilly and really quiet. Yeah. Super cool spot.
I have not been there, but this taco place, when they put in the freaking, it's just very emotional for me. But when they put it in, they cram it with eggs and sausage and stuff like that. And I like when the sausage is cooked with the eggs.
Yeah.
Because that way you scoop it out of the thing and it's just all together.
Sure.
Because there's some places that give you the eggs and then they put the sausage on top and then it's all falling apart.
Right.
It should be together like a sausage
That's
omelet
kind of the way they do it at Whataburger, man. So get a little sausage, egg, and cheese taquito at Whataburger. I played hockey last night, and basically late night eats after hockey, I'm grabbing like 2 or 3 taquitos.
Mm-hmm. What SLI is this? This is this is a brand new Area 51, by the way. First of all, I've had this for a while. The warranty's clearly gone. I've had this for like a year or 2 now.
But you haven't plugged it in?
I haven't plugged it in at all.
All right. You're making everybody jealous.
Yeah. So I have this system.
It's good to be you, Umar.
It's good to be me. It's good to be me. So this has, I believe, they're 970 graphics cards. SLI is what this has. And for a couple times on the stream, these are the systems. I have like 3 of these. These are the ones that I've been saying I'm gonna give away. So we're gonna work on it, guys. Chill out. I was talking with Leonard. We're probably gonna give away these systems that I have.
Cool.
For special flowers. So yeah, we got a question here. What is your favorite Alienware case to date?
I'm biased. I love this thing. This is like I'm so proud of this product. So I don't know if I'm the right one to ask. I actually also really liked the last Aurora. What's funny about the last Area 51 and Aurora is when they first came out, I definitely liked the Area 51 more. And then as time went on, I liked that like sort of train aesthetic that the Aurora had. I felt like it aged pretty well.
Yeah.
But I mean, hands down, I have to say this system is my favorite chassis.
For me, and this is going to sound kind of bad because one of my favorites is a very simple one, which is the Alpha.
The Alpha? Yeah.
I like the Alpha because it's smaller than a console.
Uh-huh.
It's just like a perfect square kind of design.
Yep. Still got that little iconic triangle cut.
Yeah, and I like that little cut right there because when I put it on like my TV stand area,
Yeah.
I put it in the little cubbies.
Sure.
And you can just see that light, that little triangle right there.
The goal of that one was sort of to pass the wife test, right? Because it needed to be NASCAR.
No, the lights are going to turn off. No!
I'm going to read the questions while you fix the lights.
Sure. I can't make the lights stay on. We've been trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We said, when we want this room, we don't want those lights. And they're like, okay. And then they said, we couldn't figure out how to get rid of the lights.
I've
Like,
been trying to get a light just replaced in our design studio, and it takes a long time.
Yeah. It takes a while for that to go through. Now, for desktop, like full-fledged desktop, one of my favorites...
Phil V5 has a pretty good question there.
Say you have to move. Is it easy to pick up and move this case? Are there handholds? So you can easily move this around. So I move around systems.
First,
yeah.
I'll show you the way I would do it.
Yeah. So this is the way I do it. So I edit a lot.
And be careful with your table here, buddy.
I don't want to lean on the table because we'll shatter. There'll be glass everywhere.
Yeah.
So I edit a lot. So I'm obviously going through the back of this a lot. So I have to pick it up. And now I also wasn't shipping. So normally I pick it up here. And I grab down here. And I just pick it up like that.
Okay.
And I just take it to a box and then I just drop it in.
Yeah.
Now that's how I pick it up. I don't know how you pick it up. But back in the day, for other desktops, you basically hug it. You just like hug the thing and then just pick it up.
All right. So this is a cool thing because the handles are a key part of the design. So I'm going to point out a couple of interesting things about the handles. You can see, I think you guys can see, you got a good view of it. Yeah. You can see these part lines that are symmetrical around the chassis. Oop. What are you doing over here?
I pressed our audio center by accident.
So these handles, it's a single part that's used 3 times around the chassis. I think we did this so that we could really focus on the way that part is constructed and focus on the strength of that part. So each, when these 3 combine together, they're like they're bonded, right? And each one of these can support 5 times the weight of a fully loaded system, right? So
really,
they're very stout. Okay. So back to our talented engineering team, right? These guys are awesome, right? So. I pick it up a lot like you do. I guess, but I usually grab here and then go to the back, right? Okay. And I carry it kind of like this. The idea was
the reason I don't do that is because in the cards, like I don't know, I feel like they're gonna.
What are they not secure in there?
They are secure, but I've been carrying systems for years now. I haven't dropped one.
How many have you broken?
None. 0. Every time I'm carrying one that's really heavy, I think this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
And it never is. It never is. I have yet to drop a system. Do you have to clean it at all, the Area-51? Yeah, you do have to clean it. Obviously, there will be dust that picks up. Mine, I get dust like in the fan back here. Obviously, it'll collect from... It depends also how dusty the area is.
It's pushing. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it'll be here, and then I'll aim the compressed air at one of the blades.
Yeah.
So it just spins the fan, and then everything comes out, and then I get an asthma attack. But that's pretty much what I clean. And then down here on the PSU in the back, sometimes I'll just spray it a little bit. But everything else, I think stuff like collects down here.
Yeah,
like here.
I've seen some dust on mine collect in the front.
Yeah.
And so we thought about that a lot when we were making this. You look at the front, and it's basically all these grills are like a high gloss, right? If it was like a fine texture, I've had a few like stereo components where it's got this powder coated texture. When it gets dusty and you try to wipe it, it just gets more dusty.
It just gets more dusty.
It picks everything up. So we did these high gloss so that you could kind of like
just
take one of those wands, and just and it's done.
That's what my wife does. She just wands the freaking the system.
Wands the whole house.
And I'm like, yay, you cleaned it.
But it sounds like you're doing the legit clean. But I guess I envisioned that it was going to be pulling most of its air or most of its dust into this front grill, and we wanted to just quickly hit it.
Yeah, and it is. It's really easy to clean the front grill area. The back area, obviously, the reason I clean it and I do that whole inside thing is when I get my systems, I tend to take them apart. Like, even if I get them from us, I take them apart, I put in my own thermal paste and stuff like that. I rewire it the way I like it.
Interesting.
And I just clean it up. But that's just me.
Yeah.
That's just me. The liquid cooling, must it be refilled at some time? Man, I've never met someone that had their liquid cooling pump that long that they had to refill it, because most of the time they end up buying a new one. And this is like 3 years in. I remember back in the day, I think it was like back in like 2006, people had to do it a bit more often than that. But for liquid cooling, like I don't know, I would say 3 years you can replace it. If you want to. If you're seeing cooling issues, you can. But if you're not, I wouldn't mess with it. I definitely wouldn't mess with it. And let's see what else there was here. So for my desktops now, I know I said that the Alpha was great to me, but I also like those Predator cases as well.
Yeah, the originals. Yeah, they're a beautiful piece of industrial design.
What was great was when Dell bought Alienware, we weren't selling those anymore. So we had a warehouse filled with them.
Yeah, I remember the warehouse being filled with desktops.
Yeah, so they were like, we have to sell these. So they decided to sell. So I remember we sold them online for like $300.
Okay.
But to employees, they were $20 a pop.
Wow.
I bought 2 pallets of them.
Yeah.
And I sold them off for $200 each. So thanks, Michi. It is a really great computer. And if you weren't here in the beginning, this is one of the gentlemen that designed this great case.
This is my baby.
This is his baby.
I did end up... so it was a group of us in the beginning, just to go back to sort of the history of the process of designing this thing. It was a small group of us in the beginning, and then we sort of divvied up the concepts, and I continued with this one. It passed hands a few times as far as the lead designer went, and then I ended up carrying it through, and it basically about 3.5 years, I think. I think we probably had that sketch session in late 2011, probably, and I'm foggy on when we launched this. What was it, 2015?
We launched this, I think it was 2015.
Yeah, so it was like 3.5, 4 years of development, and I basically usually will the sort of process that we go through of getting this done is most of the manufacturers will be based in Taiwan. So usually the sort of lead design will transfer, over so that we don't have to fly to Taiwan.
Yeah.
So often, and so those guys will usually finish and work with the manufacturers on some of the manufacturing issues and all that through the process. But in this case, I actually held it the whole time, and it was a long time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ups and downs too. So there's a few times that it was sort of canceled or put on hold.
Yeah.
That hence the 3.5 years, because it wouldn't really take 3.5 years, but it kept kind of.
Yeah, like, should we do it?
Downs.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone pushes back, and then
Right.
it's like, man, come on, just get on board.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see what else we got here. What else we got here?
It's kind of funny seeing everybody's comments.
Yeah. Let's see here. People noticing my butt as I go to turn on the lights. And yeah, so the Area-51 is actually a really good system for streaming. We've sent this off to like a lot of our influencers and stuff like that to do their streams. Matter of fact, a lot of the booths at big events, even small events, but at some big events, you'll notice a lot of people have signs that say "powered by Alienware," and there will be Area-51s that are powering stuff. As a matter of fact, when Battlefield 1 was announced at E3, I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year. The whole station was Area-51s.
Cool.
Area-51s underneath. They had like a grill set up, and you could see the Area-51s and their lights and everything like that.
How did they have them arranged? It
was always this. It was always like this side.
So this side facing out.
Yeah.
I always want to see them face this way and just like lined up,
Yeah.
and see all the lights just like down a row.
Yeah.
That's the way I kind of pictured it for like esports or something. If any of the esports teams would be using this much power, like just
I think they use it forward setup. I think they use it forward setup in like a glass case that they had for there's this game, I forget what it was. It was a game that I interviewed the guy for, but I interviewed so many game devs. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It was the one that's kind of like Overwatch. I don't remember its name right now, but they had like a setup, and they had the cases facing forward in the glass. So when you're playing, you just had the plain solid board at your knees and stuff like that. But on the other side, people waiting in line could see the Area-51s, and they were all facing forward.
Okay.
And in the morning, during setup, it was really cool because they were all off. But they would simultaneously start turning them on, so it was really dark, and you just see the alien head light up. And all of these different ones, and all of them start coming up in these different colors.
Yeah.
Lawbreakers, that's right, Adipo. Thank you. I was almost about to say Paragon, but I'm like, that's not right. That's not right at all. So 5. He has an Alienware 17. The keyboard is being replaced, but other than that, he loves it. You're gonna get the graphics booster. It's actually called the graphics amplifier. I'm just correcting you. So when you Google
Coming
Google
from
search
the guy that doesn't have a set name for his segment.
Yeah, a set name. I'm helping him Google it. Yeah, the graphics amplifier is actually really good. I know that there's a lot of external graphics utilities, or I don't want to call them utilities, but cases out there that use Thunderbolt. We've proven time and time again, Thunderbolt is not the way to get the best performance from an external graphics card. We have a proprietary, which everyone's welcome to get it. They just need to come to us and we'll give it to them, but don't be prideful, OEMs. Alright? We'll let you use our stuff.
Like there's a subject, a little soft spot.
It's a little soft spot because everyone's like, it's proprietary. Alienware's a jerk. I'm like, no, we're letting people have it. They can have it. They just need to come to us and we'll give it to them. Like, no problem. We want people to use it.
Lights.
No, the lights! It's too spooky again.
I think you need to keep...
Because someone's not really sitting here. So, like, when you're here, like, it stays on.
You need to keep Leonard here at all times.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that the lights don't go out on you. That's awesome.
Yeah, so the lights keep turning off. But, yeah, that cable, anybody could use it. People are going with Thunderbolt, but all right, man.
That's a crazy cable. I was a part of the process of making that graphics amp cable, and it was. I mean, it's a pretty crazy electrical engineering thing. You know, like all the channels or whatever that they needed.
Yeah,
for the traces.
But it's the best. It's the best out there, and a lot of people have started to prove it. That it is the best. So let's see. Do I have any information on the Intel Kaby Lake 7000 series? It will be in the Area-51, since right now you only got the 6 series in the Area-51. I do have that information, fan. I can't share it. But just letting you hear that lets you know that something's going to happen. I don't have a time frame. Do not expect E3 to be an announcement. Just admit it anymore. You have to put $1 in there each 5 minutes. I do. It runs on money. I have to put in $1 each time. If only I had Ian to keep lying. I don't know what happened to Ian. Since I moved here, he stopped coming back. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like me.
Who's Ian?
Ian was like our intern kind of guy. He's not an intern. He's a full-time employee.
He was just like hanging out, and now
he would hang out and help. And then he disappeared. He just stopped coming in.
Did you call him? Did you check on him?
I checked on him, make sure he was alive. He came in the chat a couple times.
Okay, he's alive. All right.
Yeah, he's alive. He's definitely alive. While you have that panel off, there's a piece with pins that connect to the alien effects light. Is that piece easily replaced? I believe that you can actually call in to service, and you can get these. You can get these little boards sent to you. It only has 2 screwdrivers, standard screwdriver head. I believe it's the Phillips. Normal Phillips. You can just go ahead, take that out, and replace it in. It's not that expensive to change it.
The other thing I would say is it is a fully symmetrical system. So if your system, and this could be some, whether you have something's wrong with that board, or maybe you've like tipped your system over and broken it. Right? Yeah. One thing that's interesting is, like, let's say there's an issue over here. Yeah. You could replace that board from the other side if you had the system up against a wall, for example, where you didn't really need one side. But if you ever mess up, like let's say that shield over there got messed up, and it's not really the one that's always in view.
That's right. Yeah, you can switch the.
It's fully symmetrical, and the lights will still work.
Yeah.
So just a useful little thing, and actually I'll leave this off because I think the view of it, with all of its glorious components, is kind of cool. But something to keep in mind for you guys if you have this chassis and you have a mishap.
Yeah. You
can always switch it around.
Yep, I totally forgot that both doors can be swapped. Let's see what else. I wish I had a 4K screen though. The instant graphics. Yep, no problem, Brute. It's real easy to switch. They've always been pretty easy to switch. I remember on the Predator cases, it was the same thing. They had that little board.
Yeah, the pogo boards. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also that you can, like, you don't have to mess with cables and stuff when you remove the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. you have anything else you want to say about it? Because I think we're reaching the end of this segment.
Okay.
So we should do our final words or final thoughts on it.
Okay. If there's no other questions, I don't think I have anything else to add. I'm really glad to spend the time and chat with you guys, and hopefully I've enlightened somebody. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people learned a lot about the Area-51 and its design, how much actually goes into this, because people think they can just grab a case off a shelf at a retail place. There's a lot more that goes into cases like this. So I know that there's a game that you enjoy that you haven't played in a while.
It's true.
And it's Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
And they recently came out, not recent, it was like last year.
Okay.
We had Street Fighter come out, and we actually did a tournament within the Miami office for people to...
Who won?
Ernie Gonzalez won. You remember Ernie?
A little bit.
Tattoo arms, Ernie
Yeah.
He won. He ended up winning.
Okay. Where did you place?
I was the one that lost to him.
Oh, shit. All right, I don't like my chances.
But I haven't played in a very, very long time.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is, the setup that I have here, guys, is actually a separate system. What we're going to do is I'm going to mute everything, and we're going to switch over to the normal streaming station. So if you guys don't mind, just hold on for a little bit, and we're going to go, you might see us go offline and then online again. So give us a moment.